All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, so just want to go into a various topics. You know, there's a lot going on. Okay, as we know, according to prophecy, we're at the end. All right, of an age. Okay, and as we know, according to the Bible, Esau, Edom will be the last. Okay, heathens to rule the earth. Okay, and they will be the worst. And what we're seeing now is these devils, trying to extend their rulership. They're trying to go beyond the bounds that the Most High has set for them. And what's happening, we're seeing the chaotic ending. You know, that's why the scriptures speak about confusion shall increase. You know, the land of confusion is broken down, Isaiah 24. It's going to be it's going to get more and more chaotic as time goes by. Okay, because what we have to understand, you're dealing with these devils who are known for fighting over their own empire. Okay, you look at the time of the Greeks. All right, when after Alexander died, what do you have? You had the Diocletian, okay, wars. Okay, you had nothing but continual war. Okay, between Edomites. Okay, Daniel the 8th chapter. When you go into that chapter, it speaks about the Syrian wars. All right, the wars between the Ptolemaic Empire, okay, and the wars between the Seleucid Empire. You see, and they was at wars for decades, man. You okay? And these are Edomites. So what we have to understand about Esau, Edom, that these devils are never at agreement. Okay, when they're in their rulership, because Esau was a conniving, cutthroat type of guy. Okay, as it goes, there's no honor amongst thieves. So these devils who have stolen the world, okay, who have put the world in their possession through the sword, which prophecy said that they would do that. Okay, so these devils who have taken the world, okay, through their sword, now as they try to upset prophecy, okay, we're coming into a time of chaos, man, because these devils don't agree at the top. Even with these oligarchs, these different elite families that rule the world, where there's because everybody wants to be the top man. You see, as the scriptures say, how the ruler of the people is, so are the people. Well, the energy on the earth, everybody wants to be that guy. Everyone wants to be number one. They don't care who they disrespect, okay? They don't care what they gotta do to get it. Everybody wants to be that guy. No one's content with their role or their lot. Everybody wants to be that guy or that bitch. That's the energy of this society. Well, that energy comes from up top. It's not enough that they're a part of the oligarchy. No, these devils, these different families are plotting and conniving to be their number one. And what you have under that is these nations, they're jockeying for position within this new world order. See, the people that are in the know, these elites, these oligarchs, certain families, okay, certain leadership of these nations, they know that this system is finna change. They know, they have counsel about these things. They know it's about to be a switch. So what we're seeing is with these nations, they're jockeying for positions. And then you got these certain families jockeying for position in their new world order. Okay? So you have what? These money grabs. These different families, they doing these money grabs. They doing this and that. They're trying to be you got all these different companies competing, to be, the company that they use for AI, the company that they use for distribution, the company that they use for food. So You have all these different companies that's competing, trying to be that main company in the new world order. Okay, you have to understand these devils think long term, and what they're trying to do, they're trying to set the world up, all right, so they can position themselves. Okay, so they can position themselves. So they're trying to set, the world up so they can position themselves to be these elite families, okay, forever. In their mind, as the scriptures say, the inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So in their mind, they want to set themselves up in a position so these certain families could continue in power forever. You see, they want to make a permanent super rich class and a permanent impoverished class, where there'll be no way to where you can come from poverty and come up to the super rich class. See, right now, in this capitalist society, you can come from nothing. Now, it's not as easy as they make it seem, the American dream. It's not as easy as they try to put it or make it seem, but you can, make some moves and come up from nothing, and you can go up in classes. You might come from a poor background, but you can make moves, and you can come up to a certain point. Now there is still a level, only a level that you can come to, that you're allowed to go to. But the fact that you can move classes, you can go from poverty to middle class, from middle class to upper middle class, and you can even become rich. But see, they finna cut all that out. It's just going to be the super rich, all right, the elites, the super rich, okay, and everyone else is going to be in a continual dystopia, man. Like when you watch movies like, The Hunger Games, okay, when you watch things like the, Elysium, okay, The Day After Tomorrow, okay. When you watch these type of movies, well, that's the reality that they want to bring. Okay, they want a super rich class. Okay, and everyone else, is piss poor. Depending on them for everything. You see, so what we have to understand that we're finna see it get real chaotic, man. They're getting ready to, go to war with each other. All right. Esau's preparing to go to the tribes, okay? So what we're finna witness is chaos on a whole nother level, okay? You see? So at the same time that the devil, they don't agree, and they got their little skirmishes going on, well, we coming to a time, all right, where they finna make war on the tribes, and we see them booting up for it, man. Everything we see happening, we're seeing them boot up for it, man. Y'all forgive me a second. Let me spray some stuff out on this trailer. It's a lock it. And I'll be back. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, going back to it, we're coming to a time of a chaotic ending. You know, the devil, you know, he's all over the place now, and it's just gonna increase. You know, because remember he has everything to lose. Okay, we have to remember that this devil has everything to lose, which is his empire. Okay, and he'll never have another empire. See, he knows these things. All right, Esau, even the devil, he knows these things that, you know, once, all right, he goes down this time, that's the end of empire forever. Okay, so he has everything to lose. So this man finna wild out with all this power and technology that the Lord has given this man. He's finna wild out, man. Okay, and what we have to understand, okay, is that we, okay, are gonna be emphasis. You know, he's gonna put emphasis. You know, that's why scripture say in Revelation that he, okay, against the saints. You know, of her seed. Okay, because this man, you know, you gotta put yourself in the shoes of the elites. Okay, and think about a people that goes from having, you know, all this influence and wealth in the world, you know, for centuries, man. You see, to at a sudden go into captivity, man, being impoverished. Okay, everything that they built completely destroyed, man. You know how long it took the elites to influence the society and wickedness like this, man? You know, it took centuries. This is centuries of work that it took to get to this point to where people are anti-Messiah, okay? To where people are lewd as hell, okay? Even going back with this guy, not to get too off topic, but Guerrilla Hebrew, the reason why it's so, it's not a which is atrocious what this nigga did, but the reason why it's not a big deal, okay, it accepts that behavior. This environment accepts that behavior, that type of behavior, man. Okay, the lewdness. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. So what that nigga did, that's the norm. Okay, that's just a regular night out for most people. You know, the type of things that this guy's doing, and the reason why, you know, I'll say it's so acceptable because the elites have, you know, conditioned society in complete wickedness, man. But that took centuries, man. Remember, the Illuminati came about in 1776, May 1st. Okay, so you go from then to now, which is going on 250 years that it took for him to break down the moral fabric in the world. And that's why, like I was speaking of yesterday, you know, there's not many normal people in the world anymore. Okay, like our grandparents was the last generation. Some of our parents, okay, but each generation is more tainted and tainted by the enchantments of the elites. To now, all right, you just have a do as thou wilt satanic society. Okay, well, there's no moral fabric. You know, there's no bounds on wickedness, man. Anything goes. And it took like I say, it took the elites. But it took the elites centuries to get society to this point, you know, and the Lord's going to destroy in an hour. That's going to hurt. You see, so these devils are working overtime, all right, and they're scrambling, okay, to try to bypass the prophecy of the end, and it's going to be chaotic. Because I say they don't agree up top, these different oligarchs, because right now you just have these select families that are being able to be enriched before they switch over, okay? Because they only want a small group of 1% super filthy rich, and everyone else dystopic. So they have that going on. Then they have, you know, the war with these nations going on. These nations want to be, all right, in a position of power in this new world order. They don't want to see these nations are fed up with, you know, America being the authority and the dominant nation in the earth. Okay? They don't never want to fall in their position again, man. So these nations are jousting for a position in this new world order. The reason why Iran hasn't wilded out, okay, on those small hats and in that region, because they got New World Order ambitions too. They want to have, they're thinking long term, and they want, okay, a high standing position within this New World Order. Okay, so they're thinking long term. Okay, but what's going to happen? The Lord's going to trigger these nations, okay, to go with it, and it's going to be because of something that those small hats are doing, man. Which we seen the prelude of it. We had that 12-day war between, that's the spirit of 12 days, 12 tribes, But you had that 12-day war between Iran and the small hats, where they were triggered by something that what those small hats did. That was a prelude, and that's another thing you have to pay attention in the spirit. The Lord gives us preludes of particular things, man. So the small hats doing what they did and caused that ripple effect, to where these nations, Iran, caused them to be aggressive like they'd never been before. It caused them to be aggressive like they'd never been before. So that's a prelude that these small hats are going to instigate this Third World War and draw all these other nations into it. Okay? So another prelude is what? Jacob's trouble. You already see, that they made, all right, the northern tribes, okay, the face of criminality. All right, then they turned and made what? The southern kingdom through the Haitians. Okay, so they're already setting it up, prepared to be the face of crime. All right, you just had this event where this Jake, just from Las Vegas, and he's in New York, and he just shoot shit up in the building, and he shoots himself on the 33rd floor. It happens at 6 o'clock, so we know that this is how these elites talk to each other, man. Like, you'll just look at it, most people will look at these certain events and certain news reports and be like, another crazy nigga, another crazy shooter. But the elites be talking to each other. That's why they do certain things in code. All right, numerology and different things. Some brothers, get heavy into it. But we know, all right, 33 goes into Freemasonry. Okay, high level Freemasonry, man. Okay, so you have that going on, and Esau is getting ready to portray Jake, okay, as the problem of the earth. Here it is. This man has all the power and authority. Okay, he's destroying the foods. He's destroying, people's health, marriage, families. Okay, anything that you can think of, the ecosystem. These data centers. Okay, here it is. This man can build $1 billion data center and raise your light bill up. Okay, destroy your environment. All right, but this nigga's gonna paint the picture that we're the problem. He's getting ready to paint the picture that the world's in shambles because of us, man. And he's gonna do it. He's a witch. He's a warlock. Okay, so that's another thing that we have to gear our minds up for, is to be hated, man. Like, that's why, we're not here for the gimmicks. You look at the spirit that's on our apostles and elders. They're grave men. Okay, they're serious-minded men. Okay, and that's a balance. They have that sense of humor. But for my woman, understand, there's some elect amongst these other groups, man. Okay, because the rebuke mainly goes to the leadership, because the leadership is responsible, for that organization being in the spirit that it's in. Okay, now, when you go into that incident, the beloved brother Elder Manata Zakba did a response. That's the response I see, and I'm sure other brothers have responded to it. But when you go into their report, and the woman has these conflicting stories. She's saying that that they call her derogatory term. Then you have a story that she thought they was terrorists, showing you that that's going to be a link. The fact that she said, "Oh, I thought they was terrorists," showing you that there's going to be, okay, a narrative that's going to be ran with. Okay, men reading the Bible being terrorists. That's why they say what, under the Southern Poverty Law. Okay, they call us what, an extremist group. okay, an extremist group, extremists. So when people hear extremists, they think of, just these radical, bugged out, okay, dangerous, okay, etc. So we have to understand that this devil, he's trying to put together an angle to come. So he's already making Jake the criminal, due to deportations. Jake is the problem because there's a lot of different people that's here illegal. East Indians, okay, Ishmaelites, okay, Hamites, Chinese. There's a lot of people that's here illegal. But the only illegals that there's a problem with is, okay, the tribes. Okay, and this is the devil showing us what it is, man. See, that's why we're in the light. We know what it is. It's not no coincidence that it's just the tribes. Okay, it's the devil at work. Okay, so he's made, the northern and southern kingdom, okay, the face of the undesirables, okay, in America, man. And he's softening it up for when he comes at the prophets, man, when he comes at the church. That's when he's softening this thing go forth. Okay? And then, like I say, you have the incident with IUIC. Now, they're saying, they was talking about, well, is this a hate crime? The conversation came up, well, is this a hate crime? Okay? And you had the FBI, say, well, you can't say it's a hate crime because this group is an anti-Semitic group. Their doctrine is anti-Semitic, so it's kind of complicated. You see, they went to, going to what brothers teaching, blaming, they said the so-called white man for the world's problems. Nigga, you are responsible for the world's problems, man. Okay, nigga, you're in rulership. Your systems run the earth. Nigga, you are responsible for the world's problems. No doubt. Okay? But going back to the point, you see, this nigga begin to talk about, the doctrine. And it just shows you that, look, when they come, it's not gonna be fair, man. Expect to be embarrassed, man. That's why the scriptures say they love their lives not to death, man. The hell with our reputation in this world. Now, while this place is up and running, we keep a good name, because, hey, the scriptures tell us, that we should have, a goodly conduct even amongst those, the unbelievers. But there's going to come a time where, we can't give a damn about our reputation, man, because we're going to be demonized, man. We're going to be looked at as the problem of the earth. Okay, that's why you got to be dead to this world. When you dead to this world, that shit ain't no factor, man. You not studying that shit. When you don't care about what people, and that's why every day we should care less and less about what these people think. We should be detaching ourselves more and more. And that's why Yahweh Shai is requiring more of a sacrifice from us, because it's putting us in a position to win. You see? We can't look at, the Heavenly Father through His Son, Yahweh Shai, requiring more from us, requiring us to be more isolated, requiring of us to be more, closed off from this world, more dead to this world, okay? Because we finna have to let all this shit go anyway, man. Shit can happen anytime. It can go from 0 to 1,000 real quick, man. In the midst of why we got this going on, because everybody got things going on, brothers and sisters got, businesses and, careers and jobs and families and, this and that going on. So people, we got things going on in our background, but we just know the fact that the Lord is not waiting on us to get finished with a project before He brings the chaos. He's not waiting on, us to get to a certain point. No, He's going to bring it at the appointed time, and it can be any time, because everything is set up for things to get chaotic. Everything is already set up, man. Okay, so we have to know these things, and this is why the Lord is requiring more of a sacrifice, man, because it separates. Because when we sacrifice more in Yahweh Bashim Shai, it first off it puts us in good standards because it shows obedience and trust, and then it puts us in a position to where, you know, we're closed off from the world more and more, which that's going to be all right. That's going to factor in when it comes to our decision making in the clutch, man. You see, we're coming down to the wire, to the clutch of this thing, man. You see? So we have to understand, okay, these are not normal times, man. We're right here on the brink of chaos, man. It's going to be a chaotic ending to Babylon, man. Okay? This man, the Lord's going to allow this man to throw a major tantrum in the earth, man. Okay? As his kingdom is being snatched from him. Okay? We have to understand these things, man. And we're going to be persecuted, man. Okay? They're going to come for brothers. Brothers going to be on the run. Okay? These days might be, you know, families could be separated, man. So I say you have to. That's why we got to get over this. This grace period was for us to get over this little bullshit, man. You know, we can't still be, you know, you got niggas still, you know, talking about the new moon is Friday. Like, nigga, we coming into time, nigga. You got to understand what's going on, man. You got to be prepared to lose it all. You see, a nigga still want to argue about, you know, the new moon. Nigga want to argue about this. Like, nigga, we coming into chaos, man. You need to be rooted. Because if you want to argue about everything, you're not rooted. Okay? Because you be arguing because you want to convince yourself of that shit. We don't need to argue with you niggas about this and about that. Because we fully persuaded. You know? We edify, we use certain points to edify the church, but we're fully persuaded. We don't have an urge to keep arguing with you niggas about these particular things, man. If you're not rooted in these times, you're going to be through. Okay? You see? You know, you women, you know, you still got this like this chick, and this just using her as a mindset, you know. Damn her. But this just using her as a mindset, you know, she's, oh, why don't I never talk about the northern tribes? Well, if you in that mindset, you not ready for what's to come. You nowhere near ready for what's the Lord about to bring. If you still on that shit, as a woman, your mindset is still, you offended every time, you know, brothers get on a woman and you offended. You not ready for what's about to come. Okay, you're not mature enough. Because see, this the grace period was for us to be mature, to become mature in the spirit. Okay? If you still have a soft spot, you know, for wickedness, like this nigga, Gorilla Hebrew, you still got Israelites, okay, that have a soft spot for this nigga, and look at this man as some type of leader. You're not ready for what's to come. You're not mature enough for these things that the Lord's finna bring to the earth, man. Okay? Your mind is not mature enough. You're gonna be offended, and you're gonna fall back into this shit, man. You're gonna get back on the broad gate because it's easier. Okay? The Lord has been preparing us and conditioning us, man, to take the straight gate, man, to choose the straight gate, man, the path of difficulty, and we have the faith, understanding what it's leading to, man. Okay? But if it's certain things that you still ain't over as men, all right, and you women, it's certain things that you ain't got over yet. You still offended, you still hurt, you still got this grudge, and you know, you secretly don't agree. And see, you're not gonna be built for this time because you're not mature, you're not spiritually mature enough, man. The Lord finna make moves, man. See, westernization is finna be a race. That's what you gotta understand. The Lord is finna erase westernization out the earth, man. Things are gonna go back to the way the Lord intended it to go back, and we're gonna see a transition. We're seeing a transition in that now. Okay, so if your mind is still stuck in Western culture and Western concepts, you're gonna be offended at what the Lord is finna bring to the earth, man. How the Lord finna move. Okay, this grace period is for us to conform, all right, to righteousness, conform to Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. Okay, to completely put off. That's going into what? Being that new creature, man. Being renewed. You see? This is what the Great Spirit was for us to constantly be renewed day by day in righteousness, man. Everything that we've been taught here is off, man. This shit is off. Okay, and you still hold fast to, these viewpoints and these doctrines and philosophies, and you've partially repented. Like, nah, man. You're gonna be offended because the Lord finna move in a particular way. Okay, and the westernization is finna be erased out the earth, man. As it said in 1 Corinthians 7:31. Okay, as we use the world and not abuse the world, because why? The fashion of this world passes away. Okay, the manner of this world, this society, is finna pass away. Okay, so being you still have Western roots in you. You refuse to let go. It's stopping you from maturing to what you need to be able to go through these times, man. Okay, we're finna see judgment. The Lord finna make changes. The Lord finna, hey, the Lord finna come through, man. Judgment finna come through. Changes finna happen. The Lord finna deal with brothers on a whole nother level. Okay? You see? You women, you secretly still in competition with men. You're gonna be offended. The Lord finna deal with brothers on a whole nother level, man. Okay? And the time to get our mind right is before. Because certain people think in the midst of the chaos they're gonna snap into what they need to be. No, when the scriptures say, okay, that we're going from glory to glory, that means that the Lord has us transitioning now. Okay, we're transitioning to what we need to be now. Okay, I don't think you're gonna be this, halfway in, halfway out, but then when the chaos comes, you're gonna be all the way in. You don't know what you're gonna do. The Lord gonna put your ass all the way out. Because you already halfway in, halfway out. The Lord will put your ass all the way out. You see? The Lord know how to cause an event. And see, this is the scary thing about Yahweh Shema Shai, is that he knows how to cause an event to happen and to have us offended to the point to where we don't continue, man. Okay? And that's a pride stance to think that, okay, when chaos happens, I'm going to snap into what I need to be. That's a proud stance. Okay? That's saying that you're going to do how you want to do in this grace period, and when chaos comes, you're going to snap into what you need to be in. Nah, man, it's a proud stance. The Lord going to snap your ass out of here, man. Okay? Because you wasted the grace period thinking that you're going to do it your way. But when chaos comes, you're going to snap into what you need to be, man. That's a proud stance, man. They're saying that you saying that you are. You saying that you in control. Nah, man. This grace period is for us to constantly be conditioned into what the Lord is getting ready to bring, man. Okay? We should be bought. We should buy into, the will of the Lord more and more each day. Okay? But we coming into a time, like I say, a complete and pure chaos. Remember, the earth has never seen a time like this before, man. And we grew up in a society. I don't care how bad your neighborhood was, how bad your hood was. We never seen nothing like this, man. That's getting ready to come. Okay? Well, the Lord's anger is gonna just settle in the earth, man. The Lord's gonna make himself known. He's gonna make statements in the earth, man. And we're gonna be in the midst of it, man. Okay? And unless the Lord put an extraordinary spirit on us, man, we're not gonna, endure. But and see, His grace period is working our way up to that extraordinary spirit, man. It's a build up to it. We're gradually getting there, man. That's why certain things don't move us. Certain emotions are being deadened in us, man. Okay? Certain things, that's a non-factor. Things that used to occupy our mind, those things are non-factor anymore, man. Okay? Certain things, like I say, that we dead to, certain emotions, we hear judgment. Hey, it's a shoulder shrug now, man. And it don't even matter on who it is. You see, the Lord is making us cold and numb. Okay? So, Yeah, man, just something I wanted to get into. Just thinking about it, I was listening, certain videos, news and prophecies, and brothers going in with certain happenings. Okay, it's gonna get very chaotic out here, man. Okay, these peaceful days. Okay, that we're used to. You know, your day to day. These things can be interrupted. Okay, in a split second. Okay, and the Lord is gonna have events that happen that there's no going back. Because people are used to events happening and then going back to normal. Well, the Lord's gonna break that up, man. It's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Okay, until the nukes. Okay, so that's the point. Just wanted to get into that this morning. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. Want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.